Well, hello again. I guess it's been a while since I did a new video. In fact, I don't think I've done one since 2025. And here it is, February of 2026. Well, there's any number of reasons for that. Of course, the holidays, and I have this weird thing on my nose that's kind of hurts, and actually it looked a hell of a lot worse not long ago. So I've kind of been waiting for it to look better before I appeared on camera because I'm kind of self-conscious about it for some reason. Well, anyway, tonight I want to talk about the topic of I don't know what to call it actually, like wish fulfillment maybe, or creating our future. But I'll give it the broader title of "Be careful what you ask for." And that's kind of a cliche, and people sort of laugh about it and use it rather ironically. But I want to share with you a story from my own past that might offer you a little insight. Right after my wife and I got married, in fact, it was only 13 days after our wedding. I was walking on some wet grass and I slipped and tore the patella tendon in my right knee. I ended up on the ground, and to make a long story short, it took me about a year to recover from that. I spent 4 months in a wheelchair. I spent another 2 months on crutches, and another 6 months kind of trying to get back to walking somewhat normally. I was very, very paranoid about getting injured again, which is a common thing for people who've had injuries, you may know. Anyway, about a year or so after that event, my wife and I were sort of reviewing the whole thing and how difficult the recovery had been and how unfortunate that I had to get injured like that right after we got married. And she said, I want you to think back to what you were saying for a couple months before the wedding. She said, you said many times, gee, I wish I could take more time off work so we could spend some time together after we get married. And she said, now, I'm not implying that you asked for the injury, but she said, you'll notice that literally you did get what you asked for. You wanted to have time off from work to spend with me, and guess what? You got it. Now, when she first brought this up to me, frankly, I was I was kind of mad about it because it sure sounded to me like she was saying it was my fault. And it took me a while to realize that that's not what she was saying, but that it's a real alert that we should watch our self-talk. Watch what we put out there because it can come back to us in some very unexpected and unpleasant ways. And if you think about incidents in your own life or think about incidents in the lives of others, um, I know some older people who start saying things like, my life is over, I don't think my life has any meaning. Their life expectancy can fall off a cliff. And that's a rather extreme example, but there are other things in life. So think of things that have happened to you, both good and bad. And if you put out there, was this really something that you wished for, that you vocalized for? So, how this applies to my stroke, well, that's maybe a topic for another video. But anyway, I really think there's something to it. So maybe we should be careful the words we use. Yeah, because they can have implications beyond our intentions or expectations. So what do you think? Let me know. Send me an email. Leave a comment. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.